Tola was just 28 years old when she packed her entire life into a tattered Ghana must-go bag and left Abuja for good. She didn't glance back, not at the cramped salon where her boss screamed at her daily, not at Dio, the boyfriend who ghosted her after 4 wasted years, and definitely not at the so-called friends who only remembered her when they needed free braids or quick loans. "Abuja isn't for me, and I'm never coming back," she whispered with a fire in her belly as the bus rattled down the highway heading south toward Lagos. Her destination wasn't the bustling island or mainland of Lagos everyone talked about, but a sleepy fishing community tucked along the fringes of the city called Otokun Waterside. The rent there was cheap, the people minded their business, and the river whispered promises of peace. But no one told Tola that the quiet waters carried secrets, secrets that could either crown you or drown you. Within her first 2 weeks at Otokun Waterside, Tola hustled like her life depended on it. She hawked roasted groundnuts along the roadside, sold a kara at dawn, and at night, when hunger clawed at her stomach, she dabbled in low-end hookups just to scrape enough together for her dream. Owning a salon, a place of her own, where women could walk in with tangled lives and walk out feeling powerful. But the reality of Lagos slapped her hard. Salon spaces were outrageously expensive, and with barely 7,000 naira to her name, Tola's dream felt like sand slipping through her fingers. Until one evening, while watching the sunset stain the river orange, her new friend Eve whispered about an abandoned structure by the riverside. "No one's touched that building in over a decade," Eve said, glancing around nervously. "They say it's cursed." Tola's eyes widened with desperate hope. Curse or not, I'll take it. The next morning, as mist curled over the quiet river, Tola marched to the building. It stood weather-beaten and frail, rusted zinc roof, crumbling walls covered in moss, cobwebs hanging like forgotten veils. But to her it was perfect. With a battered broom and stubborn determination, she scrubbed away years of grime. Within hours, the faded walls looked alive again. Within 2 weeks, using second-hand mirrors and borrowed tools, her modest salon was ready. She named it Tola's Glow. The villagers stared with wide eyes as she flung open the doors. Some whispered, others shook their heads. But Tola ignored them. She believed the riverside brought peace. Surely customers would flock to her, she thought. But days passed, then weeks, and not a single soul entered. She sat outside every afternoon, smiling, waving at passerby, watching boats drift lazily across the river. But no one came. Her only visitors were hunger pangs gnawing at her belly. She sucked on dry Maggie cubes to feel full. On her worst days, she soaked Gary in river water and pretended it was ice cream. Rumors swirled around her. Business never survives by the river, they said. The waters claim everything. But Tola didn't believe in curses. She believed in hard work, until the night it rained. It poured heavily, the roof rattling like drums, thunder rumbling across Otokun. Around midnight, just as she was dozing off on a wooden bench, she heard it. A knock. Soft, tentative. Her heart slammed against her ribs. No one visited this late, and certainly not during a storm. She tiptoed to the door, breath held tight, fingers trembling. When she opened it, she froze. Standing there barefoot and dripping wet was a woman. Her skin gleamed like polished ebony. Her hair hung in wet coils down to her waist, and though she looked human, there was an eerie stillness to her. "Good evening," Tola stammered. "Can I help you?" The woman smiled faintly, her eyes deep as the river. "My name is Adaeze," she said, "and I've come to bless you." "Bless me?" Tola blinked. "I've heard your prayers. Your hunger troubles my spirit," Adaeze whispered, stepping inside without waiting for permission. She sat gracefully on the plastic salon chair. Confused and unnerved, Tola clutched her threadbare scarf tighter around her. How do you intend to help me?" she asked shakily. Adaeze's lips curled. "Sell my wigs," she instructed. Tola's brows knitted. "Wigs you want to buy from me?" "No," Adaeze replied calmly. "You will sell them, keep the money, but ensure they reach the heads of those who seek change." Before Tola could respond, Adaeze stood, gliding toward the door. Tola chased after her, but the woman was already at the water's edge. The river welcomed her like an old friend, waves parting as she slipped beneath the surface without a ripple. Tola stood rooted, mouth agape, heartbeat hammering. The next morning, bleary-eyed and groggy from a restless night, she found a black nylon bag at her doorstep. Inside were the most exquisite wigs she had ever seen. Sleek, bone-straight strands, bouncy curls, rich textures that shimmered in the light. Could this be real? How did Adaeze? Her thoughts shattered as someone knocked again. This time it was a young woman holding her phone. "Hey, are you the one doing hair here? I saw your salon on Instagram." Tola's throat went dry. Instagram? She wasn't even online. Before she could answer, 2 more women arrived. Then 5, then 10. By noon, a queue stretched along the riverside. They came from far and wide, Lekki, Ikeja, even as far as Badagry. Some said a voice told them to come. Others couldn't explain it. Tola braided until her fingers ached. By sunset, she'd sold 6 wigs, each fetching 150,000 naira. She made nearly $1 million in one day. Overnight, Tola's glow became legendary. Her once abandoned salon buzzed with activity. The villagers, once wary, now begged for appointments. Ife asked about her success, but Tola lied, claiming an uncle abroad funded her. But as business boomed, whispers grew. It started with Amaka, a jobless graduate struggling for years. Days after wearing one of Tola's wigs, she landed a job with a multinational. Then there was Said, battling infertility for 5 years. She conceived days after buying a wig. And Bolanle, a shy student, wore a wig, posted a TikTok, and woke to viral fame and brand deals. Tola told herself it was luck. But at night, doubts crept in. Why did the wigs tingle her fingers? Who truly was Adaeze? Across the street, Mama Ireti watched silently. In her 60s, Bible always by her side, her late husband once called her the Waterside prophetess. She noticed strange things. Goats refused to pass Tola's salon. Mirrors reflected ripples instead of faces. One night, Mama Ireti dreamt of shadows in salon chairs, their hair growing like snakes, their eyes hollow, mirrors reflecting endless water. The next day, she approached Tola. "My child," she warned softly, "when blessings come from the river, they drag you under before you realize." Tola smiled politely, dismissing her fears. But that night, thunder rumbled, rain pounding hard. Tola sipped tea, nerves frayed when the knock returned. Adaeze stood there, rain dripping off her like silk. "Do you enjoy your new life?" she asked. Tola hesitated, then nodded. Adaeze placed a golden box on the table. "These are special wigs. They bring sudden change." Tola peeked inside. The wigs shimmered unnaturally. Some flickered with ghostly light, others swirled like mist. Her hands shook. I don't know if I should continue." Adaeze's eyes darkened. "Reject the gift and the river takes more than your salon." With that, she vanished. Tola's knees buckled. She'd made a deal with something not entirely human. But poverty? Hunger? She couldn't return to that life. The next day, she posted the wigs. Expensive, promising breakthroughs. Orders flooded in. But then, tragedy struck. Nancy B., a famous influencer, bought a glowing wig. 3 days later, she was found dead. No wounds, no forced entry, lungs filled with water. Drowned, yet dry land surrounded her. Tola's phone buzzed non-stop, panic, intrigue, others begging for the same wig. Her heart raced. That night, during heavy rain, she hurled the golden box into the river. "Take your property, leave me alone." But by morning, the box sat neatly on her table. There was no escape. Outside, fame masked her fear. Inside, nightmares gnawed at her, faceless women brushing endless hair, singing songs from a forgotten tongue. The salon thrived, customers swarmed, but Tola's reflection changed. Her eyes gleamed too bright. Her skin shimmered faintly, like the river's surface at dusk. Weeks later, Adaeze returned. This time, a silver box held one lone wig. "For you alone," Adaeze whispered. Tola hesitated, then placed the wig on her head. The world shattered, visions flashed. Adaeze dragged into the river, the salon submerged, ghostly women floating, singing, mirrors rippling with water. Tola yanked the wig, but it fused to her scalp. In the mirror, her eyes transformed, round, glassy, deep as the ocean. Her lips quivered. "Then She smiled, and the river smiled back. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for part 2, coming soon.